My name is Peter Roberts. I'm one of the co-leaders of the WikiTree DNA project, and I'm also one of the team members for mitoYDNA.org. This is a tour of some of the ways that WikiTree and mitoYDNA are associated with each other. If I go to my profile, under my test information, I can see that I've done a Y-DNA test, I've done a mitochondrial test. I can click on a mitoYDNA ID, and it goes out to mitoYDNA, and it shows me my 67 marker results, also shows me my haplogroup, and it provides a link to the web address for my earliest known ancestor. It's actually a descendant chart. I can click on that link, and it takes me back to WikiTree. It shows me the direct male line descendants that are known in WikiTree for that my direct male line. It shows me that 2 people have taken a Y-DNA test. If I go and look at my haplogroup, I can click on the age of that haplogroup, and it tells me that my haplogroup, the SNP that defines my haplogroup, is roughly 1,500 years old. I go back, and then it can also show me the ancestral track or migration that my direct male line has taken back into Africa and then out to medieval times. And I can also select walk and then click on track, and it will walk me through where that ancestor was 1,500 years ago up to the present time when the Neanderthals were in Europe. And then finally when my direct male line entered Europe 67,000 years ago, and during the last ice age when there was Darkland, and then more recently to medieval times, during the Roman Empire 1,500 years ago. Now, I can also I'm going to go back to WikiTree. I'm interested in seeing how my cousin and how our haplotypes compare. Because we're on the same direct male line, we should have matching Y haplotypes, and I can actually see that. If I go out to any profile in the direct male line, it shows that I've taken a Y chromosome test, and my cousin has taken a Y chromosome test. I can click on compare, then click on compare, and then in this pop-up window I can actually click the compare button, and it goes out to mitoYDNA, and it shows me that the person I'm comparing with tested at 37 markers. I've tested more, but it shows me that there is a genetic distance of 0 on 37 markers. We match 37 out of 37 markers, which is expected for a second cousin once removed, which he and I are. Now, WikiTree also can look at your direct female line. In this case, I'm going to go back to myself and look at my mitochondrial DNA. So here I've taken a mitochondrial DNA test, and there's a mitoYDNA ID for that. I click on it. I've tested full sequence, including the coding region here, but it doesn't show my coding region publicly. But I can see differences on the coding region with anyone else. I can see that there's one difference or there's 0 differences, that sort of thing. And it also does the same track in age for the haplogroup. This is a integration with Rob Spencer's SNP tracker. So it goes, my direct female line took a little bit of a different path, but it goes, ends up in quite likely the British Isles. And then I can look at the age of that mitochondrial DNA haplogroup, and I can see that it's roughly 2,300 years old. And it also links back to the earliest known ancestor for my direct female line, and this is a web address to that. And it shows me everyone that I know on the direct female line. Now there are some more famous people and more extensive ancestral lines that are in WikiTree that have taken a DNA test and have mitochondrial or Y chromosomes associated, Y haplotypes associated with them. So I'm going to go back to WikiTree, and under WikiTree, under Help and then WikiTree Love, I can see something called WikiTree Tops. And WikiTree Tops is intended to be some of the top facts found in WikiTree. And there's a section for DNA, and it has some of the more like the longest direct female line known to exist in WikiTree, the longest known direct male line known to exist, and there's some coding that's on here. So if I wanted to see, wherever you see an asterisk, that means there's a mitoYDNA ID associated with it. And wherever you see this symbol here, this is the relationship between this person and this person. Anyway, so I'm going to look at, I want to go to King Richard III, and he is found, I know that he's done a mitochondrial DNA test, but he is actually right. If I go to this, then I can see that King Richard III has taken a mitochondrial DNA test. This is the direct female line that he's a part of. I can actually go to him. I can see that when I go to him, I can see that he's taken a Y-DNA test and a mitochondrial DNA test. So I can click on that mitoYDNA ID for his Y chromosome, and it shows me that I've got 23 markers that I'm looking at, and his haplogroup, and then the direct male-female line the direct male line direct paternal line that haplotype is associated with. This is some of how they were able to recover his Y chromosome, and then these are everyone on his direct male line that have his Y DNA associated with him. So the earliest known ancestor is this fellow that was born in about 935 in France. And then we can also go back. We can look at that direct female line, that direct male line. Where did he go? Completely lost it. There it is. Okay, anyway, so when we go back to Richard, now I want to look at his mitochondrial DNA. And these are his differences from the Cambridge reference sequence on hypervariable region 1, hypervariable region 2. And I can see that he belongs to the J1C2, C3 haplogroup. And I can track that, the ancient migration. And then I can look at the age of that haplogroup, about 4,000, roughly 4,800 years ago. Now I can also do a comparison of different, let's say there's another, we'll go back to WikiTree Love, and then go back to WikiTree Tops, and then go to DNA, and there is one group that has the Thorpe group. They have 4 different Thorpes that have taken a Y-DNA test. well, actually there's 7, but 4 of them are in mitoYDNA. If I look at, if I go into Willis's profile, and I want to look at Willis's relationship to Omer, I can see that they are 6 cousins once removed. Now I want to see how many differences do they have for their Y haplotype comparison. I can click on Compare for Willis, and then click on Compare for Omer, and do a comparison, and I can see that there are a distance of 7 on 67 markers. Now you can do up to 24 comparisons. Say I want to add in, I've looked at Willis. I want to add in Clarence, add in William, and then add in Thor, and do a comparison. And I can see that the comparisons and the distances for these different people. You can also do a comparison for the mitochondrial DNA. We're going to go back to WikiTree Love, and then WikiTree Tops, and then look at DNA and do a mitochondrial comparison. We've got, well, actually mitochondrial comparison is up here. Actually, what way I want to find this is I am looking for this. I know that Beardsley has done a mitochondrial test. If I look at Beardsley, I can see that the Gary Wolcott and John Beardsley are both in mitoYDNA, and they belong to the same direct maternal line. They should match each other, therefore. They are actually not that distantly related on the direct male-female line. We can see that they're actually, they share a grandparent, or one has a, for one person, the mother is the grandmother of another, I believe. Anyway, so they should have matching mitochondrial DNA, and we can do a comparison of the two, and they should match each other. And we can see that they have 0 differences on the coding region. The coding region does not display because about 1 in 200 people have may have a health-related issue on their mitochondrial DNA. So it's not, mitoYDNA doesn't display it publicly, but it just shows you that there are 0 differences, and these are an exact match, as they should be. But this can be done for much more distant direct maternal line cousins. And that's actually also it's been done for King Richard III. We've got some, I think, they're separated by about 17 or more generations, and they actually match on their mitochondrial DNA. However, those people are living and they're not members of WikiTree, so their mitochondrial DNA is difficult to actually get into WikiTree because they have not joined WikiTree. And I hope you've enjoyed this little tour, and fortunately there are more features that are coming out with mitoYDNA. There are more features that are being worked on at present, and I strongly encourage you, if you've tested your YDNA, please upload it to mitoYDNA, or if you've tested your mitochondrial DNA, please upload it. And then you can associate that DNA with your direct male line or direct female line, depending on which test you took.